The Kansas City Chiefs come back to defeat the San Francisco 49ers 19-16 in the preseason opener. Luckily, this time it was in the preseason and not in the Super Bowl. Coming up, a full recap of the Niners preseason opener. But first, shout out to our sponsor, Magic Spoon, for making today's show possible. You can get $5 off at checkout by going to magicspoon.com/49ers report. It's healthy cereal that's also delicious. That link is in the description of this video. So the Niners lose to the Chiefs 19-16 in the opening game of the NFL preseason. Finally, it was awesome to see Niners football back. Chiefs lead a touchdown drive late. Shane Mychal on a quarterback keeper. The difference in this one, but basically the main story for San Francisco and really the NFL world, the play of Trey Lance making his professional debut, 5 of 12, 128 yards, an 80-yard touchdown bomb to Trent Sherfield. And I thought he looked really good in his first action as a professional football player. Of course, coming up in today's show, we'll explore his performance further. First, your one-word reaction to the Niners preseason opener. What was it? Let me know in the comment section right now. For me, I was just glad and happy to see Niners football back, especially seeing fans on hand at Levi's Stadium for the first time since 2019. Way too long since we've seen fans on hand at a Niners game. The Niner faithful always ride or dies. To see them on hand supporting the Niners was certainly great. My one big takeaway for the Niners moving forward into week 2 of the preseason was this. Jimmy Garoppolo, as well as Trey Lance, looked really, really good. And I understand that Jimmy G played a short sample size, only played that opening drive of the game. That was the plan going into it, according to Kyle Shanahan. And while playing, I thought Jimmy Garoppolo did what he had to do. Had control over the offense, completed the passes that he needed to complete, and the Niners offense moved well in that opening drive. Jimmy G at the end, 3 of 3, 26 yards, 0 touchdowns, no picks. The average yards per target, 8.7, which is a pretty good number. But for Jimmy G, he bulked up during this offseason. Obviously, it was a big offseason for him because the Niners went out and got his replacement in the draft by selecting Trey Lance. And he's just trying to stay healthy and fend off Trey Lance because I think it's inevitable that at some point Trey Lance is going to take over for him. As for Trey Lance, he got extended action after that opening series from Jimmy Garoppolo and really flashed. Don't be concerned by the completions to attempts because Lance was sacked 4 times, had a couple of drop passes. His stat line at the end of the night, 5 of 14, 128 yards, a touchdown to no interceptions, and that one touchdown, it was the flash play of the game tonight. An 80-yard bomb in which it was a design quarterback rollout, rolled to his left, threw across his body, across the field to Trent Sherfield, who reeled it in stride for an 80-yard touchdown. Trey Lance in his professional debut, a lot of positives to take away from it. Grade Trey Lance's debut in a Niner uniform tonight. A, B, C, D, or F. Be sure to get those votes in the comment section down below. A lot of people are going to look at the completions versus the incompletions, and Trey Lance's final stat line, 5 of 14 for 128 yards and a touchdown. Don't be overly concerned about the incompletions. It was all about what Trey Lance was able to show, the athleticism, the skill set, the ability, him being calm in his professional debut. I thought Lance was very, very impressive. And when you watch Lance on the field, he brings to the table and to Kyle Shanahan's offense what Jimmy Garoppolo simply does not. And it's because Lance is just built different. 6'3", 6'4", 225 pounds. He's got running ability, escapability. On the touchdown ball that he threw to Trent Sherfield, it's just not a play that Jimmy G makes, where it's a design quarterback rollout to the left, where he throws across his body and across the field right in stride to Trent Sherfield. Jimmy G is a guy who stands firm inside the pocket and is a good distributor for Kyle Shanahan's offense, where he just picks his spots and does what is asked of him. But Trey Lance can play outside of the scheme. He can play outside of design. When things break down, he brings you this explosive element with his athleticism as well as his arm strength that Jimmy G just simply does not bring to the table. And I don't want you to get concerned or judge Lance by the numbers that he put up. 5 of 14, 128 yards, for a couple of reasons. Multiple drops from his receiving core. He was playing a lot with the twos, even though Brandon Ayuk had a drop early on in that game. But also, Lance in the first half of action after that opening drive from Jimmy G was pressured a ton and was sacked 4 times. The offensive line was awful for Trey. But this is what I like. He didn't get concerned. He didn't get flustered. He didn't panic. He seemed in control and confident in a way that Justin Fields was in his debut with the Chicago Bears earlier on Saturday. So the Chiefs come back to take down the Niners 19-16. Again, somewhat reminiscent of the Chiefs coming back against San Francisco in Super Bowl 54 back in 2019. Luckily, a lot less at stake in this game. It was only the preseason opener. We're going to continue to break it down coming up. First, 49ers Report made possible thanks to our friends at Magic Spoon. This cereal is phenomenal. And right now I'm holding my favorite flavor, which is peanut butter, but Magic Spoon has a bevy of flavors that you have to try out. And if you're at home right now asking, why should I try Magic Spoon cereal? Clean ingredients, high in protein, it's actually healthy for you. High in protein, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, naturally flavored, totally delicious. It's childlike cereal for grown-ups. And compared to some of the other traditional brands out there, which are loaded with sugar, Magic Spoon is not. Because per serving, you get 13 to 14 grams of protein, depending on which flavor you go with, 0 grams of sugar per serving, and only 4 grams of net carbs. And you can get $5 off your purchase at checkout by going to magicspoon.com/49ers report. They're a big supporter of what we do, so support us, support Magic Spoon, and try the cereal out. I guarantee you, if you do try it, you will really like it. That link is in the description of this video. More takeaways from the 49ers debut in the preseason. Trent Sherfield. After a couple of years with the Arizona Cardinals, Sherfield has been lighting it up in training camp. He's built a very good rapport and relationship with Trey Lance. And in his debut in a Niners uniform, just like it was Lance's debut, he was able to flash that on-field camaraderie with Trey as they hooked up for that 80-yard touchdown, which was really the highlight for both teams in this game because that level of explosion was just unbelievable. And I think Lance and Sherfield have something special going on. And I think Sherfield is working his way to making the 53-man roster. I wanted to see how the training camp success was going to translate to the game field. And it did translate in this preseason matchup. Brought in 1 catch, 80 yards, and he displayed size on that play, displayed breakaway speed, as well as good route running. And for him to prove himself on the field, in addition to the practice field, Trent Sherfield, I think he locked himself up a roster spot on the 53. So I think he's going to make the roster. What do you think? Will Sherfield make the team? Predict it for us in the comment section, Niner Gang. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get those votes in the comment section and let us know if Trent Sherfield is going to be a part of this team on opening day. We did a live watch party for 49ers Chiefs. It was our first watch party that we've ever done here on the channel. A massive success with around 1,200 people watching live. And also here on the Niners Report, we bring you the latest news and rumors, breaking news anytime something happens. We'll continue to bring you training camp updates as well. So if you like what you're watching here on the channel and you haven't subscribed, do so right now for the best 49ers coverage on YouTube, youtube.com/49erstv, or hit that red subscribe button down below. Another big takeaway from this game against the Chiefs, it's Jonas Griffith, who was an undrafted free agent last year out of Indiana State. In the first half, this guy was all over the field. I love his size as a linebacker at 250 pounds. And I think he can give this defense a little bit of something, and you saw that in that first half where he contributed 4 tackles, 1 solo tackle, as well as 1 pass breakup. Trey Sermon didn't do a bunch, only 9 carries for 26 yards. It's not like the average yards per pop was an extraordinary number, but he had a little bit of wiggle, had a little bit of explosiveness and physicality, and the draft class for the 49ers in their first game as pros looked pretty good outside of Aaron Banks. Speaking of that draft class, Deommodore Lenoir. I've been talking about him as a rangy safety who has some speed and some good ball skills. Really played first half plus action, 3 tackles, contributed an interception as well on a deflection. Lenoir, to me, just seems to have good instincts, good ball skills, and I like his size, around 200 pounds. He certainly flashed in his first professional game. So too did Jauan Jennings, who is on the roster bubble for sure. And he was able to kind of flash in a couple different ways. 2 receptions for 23 yards, but he also brought in a couple of catches that were carries from Trey Lance because the passes went backwards behind the line of scrimmage, and he picked up some good yards after the catch. He's not the fastest guy, but he did display a little bit of explosiveness. And for JaMychal Hasty, another player who's on the bubble of this roster in a loaded 49ers backfield, he played well outside of 1 fumble, which really cost the Niners points as they were on the Chiefs' side of the field. But outside of that fumble, he ran with power, he ran with effort. I thought he had some good vision where he bounced a couple of runs at different directions from where they were supposed to go at the origin of the play. 10 carries, 63 yards, and a go-ahead touchdown late that looked to be the game winner before the Chiefs came back. I'm looking for Hasty to get more carries in the second preseason game and maybe make the roster as the 4th or 5th running back on this roster, although he could be on the outside looking in. So I just mentioned a couple players who popped in this preseason opener. Who do you think was the MVP today for the 49ers in this game? Get those names in down below in the comments section. We do have a roster move to get to before we get out of here. Mychal Kendricks, the longtime linebacker for the Niners, for the Philadelphia Eagles, who has also played with the Seattle Seahawks and last year with the Washington football team, only played 1 game last year, has signed with the Niners to give this team a little bit of depth at the linebacking spot. I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to contribute for this defense, but this is a guy who, with the Eagles, coming out of Cal, was a good linebacker for a long time and a big component of that Super Bowl team over the New England Patriots back in 2017. And with the Seahawks, he certainly played well at times. A lot of Niners fans familiar with him. Didn't play basically at all, only 1 game with the Washington football team last year, but as a good depth piece, and I think he does have a chance to possibly make this roster. Is he going to make it over a guy like Jonas, who played really well tonight? I'm not sure, but at the very least, a good camp body, a guy who's experienced, who has talent, and has put together a very good NFL career. That news coming from Ian Rappaport. He has signed with the Niners. Brief recap. Niners fall in the preseason opener to KC 19-16. The big news of the night, Trey Lance, 5 of 12, 128 yards, in addition to a touchdown, an 80-yard bomb to Trent Sherfield. Awesome time for our watch party here on the Niners Report. Hopefully you were all able to join us. Moving ahead, it's going to be another good opportunity for Trey Lance to possibly take the reins as the starting quarterback, because the Niners going up against the Chargers in joint practices this upcoming week, and then they take on the Chargers in preseason next Sunday. So predict the score for us between the Niners and the Chargers week 2 of the preseason. Get those score predictions in the comment section.